my chosen vessel, you have skipped this 5 times already, and still heaven did not give up on you. Read that again in your spirit. You did not click this by accident. You did not arrive here randomly. And you are not hearing this message because of coincidence. God is saying, I am begging you. Only 3 hours remain until something shocking happens. Don't ignore me. Open this immediately before it's too late. Don't skip me today. This is not about fear. This is not about panic. This is about divine timing. 5 times. 5 separate moments when your thumb hovered over the screen. 5 opportunities when heaven tried to interrupt your routine. 5 divine nudges you brushed aside because you were busy, distracted, overwhelmed, or maybe even doubtful. But here you are again. You understand what that means. It means mercy outran your delay. The number 5 is not random. In the language of the Spirit, 5 represents grace. And grace has followed you relentlessly. God hath been patient, whispering through circumstances, dreams, small discomforts, and subtle signs. And now there are only 3 hours remaining before something shifts. Listen carefully. This is not about a random event. This is about a spiritual turning point tied to your obedience. Something shocking is about to unfold, not necessarily destructive but revealing. Exposure. Clarity. A sudden truth surfacing. A hidden matter rising to light. And the shocking part, it involves something you have been sensing for weeks. You already feel it, don't you? There has been a strange tension in your spirit. A feeling that something is about to be uncovered. Conversations that felt slightly off. Energy in your home that shifted. A door that suddenly feels unstable. A connection that doesn't sit right anymore. That is not imagination. That is preparation. God is saying, I warned you gently. I nudged you softly. I called you quietly. But now I must speak clearly. The 3-hour window is symbolic of urgency. It represents a short season of decision. A final chance to align yourself before revelation arrives. What happens next will expose motives, reveal intentions, and shake something that appeared stable. And if you ignore this again, you will walk into the shock unprepared. But if you listen now, you will walk into it protected. There is a difference between being surprised and being positioned. Right now, heaven is trying to position you. Archangel Michael is standing guard over your atmosphere. Not because disaster is coming, but because truth is. And truth, when it arrives suddenly, can feel like an earthquake to those who are not anchored. But you are being anchored right now. Ask yourself honestly, why did this message keep appearing? Why did your attention keep returning here? Why did something inside you feel uneasy each time you skipped it? Because your spirit recognized what your mind tried to dismiss. This is not about guilt. God is not accusing you. He is reaching for you. I am begging you, he says, not in weakness, but in love. The Creator of the universe does not need to beg. Yet he lowers his voice and pleads because what is about to unfold affects your next season. There are 3 specific areas this shock could touch. 1. A relationship where truth has been delayed. 2. A financial or professional matter where hidden information will surface. 3. A spiritual revelation that will break an illusion you've been holding onto. You don't know which one yet, but heaven does. And this is why you cannot ignore this moment. For some of you, within 3 hours you will receive a message. For others, a conversation will begin. For a few, a sudden realization will hit like lightning, not from outside, but from within. And when it happens, you will remember this warning. God says, do not panic when it unfolds. I allowed you to hear this so you would stand firm. There is protection in awareness. The enemy thrives in surprise. But when God alerts you ahead of time, surprise loses its power. This is your alert. You have skipped this 5 times already because distraction has been heavy over your life lately. You have been tired, mentally overloaded, spiritually drained, and the enemy hoped you would skip this one too. But you didn't. That means something shifted. Right now, pause and breathe. Place your hand on your chest if you can. Say silently, God, I am listening. Because the next hours are not about fear. They are about exposure and alignment. And here is the deeper truth most will not understand. The shocking event is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to free you. Something hidden has been blocking your breakthrough. Something unseen hath been delaying your next level. And exposure is the final step before elevation. Archangel Michael does not step forward for small matters. When he appears in your awareness, it means protection is active because transition is near. Transition always feels unstable before it feels victorious. So if your heart feels slightly uneasy right now, that is not anxiety, that is awakening. Do not ignore God today. Do not scroll away again. Because the fact that you are still here means heaven has decided you are ready to handle what is coming. And in the next segment, you will understand exactly what you must do within these remaining hours to secure your peace before the shock arrives. The clock has started. Beloved listener, the countdown is not about the clock on your wall. It is about the alignment of your spirit. There are only 3 hours remaining in this prophetic window, and what you do in this short span will determine how you experience what is about to unfold. God is not trying to scare you. He is trying to prepare you. There is a massive difference between being caught off guard and being spiritually equipped. Right now, heaven is offering you equipment. You have skipped this 5 times already because part of you resisted facing what you already sensed. Deep down, you know something has been building. There has been a pattern repeating itself in your life. A tension that would not leave. A thought that kept returning at night. A name that kept crossing your mind. A situation that did not sit right in your spirit. That is not coincidence. That is divine alert. Archangel Michael stands in spiritual authority during moments like this. When exposure is near, protection must also be activated. But protection does not mean you sit passively. It means you align actively. In these remaining hours, you must quiet the noise around you. Turn down distractions. Lower the volume of outside voices. This is not the time for gossip, overthinking, or reacting emotionally. This is the time for stillness. God says, return to me in the quiet, and I will strengthen you before the reveal. The shocking event that is approaching is not random chaos. It is structured revelation. Something hidden will surface because it cannot remain concealed any longer. Truth has a time limit, and the time limit is expiring. If this message is stirring something in you right now, that is not by accident. Your spirit is recognizing divine timing. And before we go deeper, take a moment to engage with this message. Like this video so more souls can receive this warning. Share it with someone who has been on your heart. Comment what you are feeling in this moment. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this spiritual family. When you interact, you are not just helping an algorithm. You are helping this word reach someone who may be on the edge of missing their breakthrough. Join the membership if you feel called to stand closer to this mission. Now listen carefully. There are 3 things you must guard in these remaining hours: your mouth, your emotions, and your assumptions. First, your mouth. Do not speak prematurely about what you suspect. Words carry power. If something is about to be revealed, let it reveal itself. Do not interfere with God's exposure process by trying to control the narrative. Second, your emotions. When the shock comes, your first reaction may be strong. It could be disappointment, surprise, even relief. But remain steady. Archangel Michael's energy is about strength under pressure. You are being trained to stand firm, not collapse under sudden truth. Third, your assumptions. Do not assume you already know the full picture. Revelation unfolds in layers. What looks shocking at first may actually be the missing piece to your freedom. You might be wondering why 3 hours? Because spiritually, 3 represents completion and confirmation. Something that has been developing behind the scenes is reaching its final stage. This is not the beginning of chaos. It is the end of deception. And here is something even deeper. God allowed you to skip this message 5 times so you would recognize how persistent His mercy is. If He wanted to force you, He could. But He waited. He gave you space. He allowed your free will to operate. And now, because you finally paused, He can prepare you. Within these remaining hours, you may feel an increase in sensitivity. You may notice small signs, subtle confirmations, repeated numbers, or sudden clarity about something you were confused about. Do not dismiss it. Your spiritual senses are sharpening. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes courage. You are being called to face something bravely, not aggressively, not emotionally, but with calm authority. There is also a possibility that what is revealed will not be external but internal. A realization about your own patterns. A truth about a decision you have been postponing. A recognition that you have outgrown a certain environment. Sometimes the most shocking revelations are the ones that wake us up to ourselves. Hold steady, because when the moment comes, you will remember this preparation. And instead of reacting impulsively, you will respond wisely. Something has been hidden long enough, and heaven has decided it is time. Do not look away now. What unfolds next will connect the hidden threads you have been trying to understand for months. Hold on, because what is about to be revealed in this unfolding will make everything make sense in a way you never expected. Faithful heart, the atmosphere has shifted. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but something in the spiritual realm has already begun to move. The final hour of this prophetic window is approaching, and what was once delayed is now accelerating. God is not whispering anymore. He is positioning. There is a reason the warning felt urgent. There is a reason your spirit felt pulled back here. Because what is about to unfold is not random exposure. It is divine separation. Something that has been attached to your life without full transparency is about to be uncovered. It could be a hidden motive. It can be a concealed intention. It could even be a misunderstanding that has silently shaped your decisions. But whatever it is, the light is about to reach it. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of moments like this, not to create fear, but to enforce clarity. His presence signals that heaven is guarding your transition. When truth emerges, it can feel intense. But intensity does not mean harm. It means importance. You were warned because you are chosen to respond correctly. Listen closely now. When the shock happens, do not speak immediately. Observe. When the truth surfaces, do not react impulsively. Absorb. When the exposure arrives, do not collapse into emotion. Anchor yourself. God says, I prepared you in advance so you would not be shaken when the curtain lifts. The shocking moment will not destroy you. It will confirm what you already sensed. That is why this message kept appearing. Deep inside, you knew something was not fully aligned. You felt a subtle hesitation in your spirit. You noticed inconsistencies. You sensed distance where there should have been clarity. And you tried to brush it aside. But heaven would not let you ignore it forever. This is the mercy of God. He alerts before he shifts. He prepares before he elevates. And elevation is the true purpose behind this exposure. Something hath been occupying space in your life that was not meant to travel into your next season. Whether it is a mindset, a connection, a habit, or a hidden truth, it cannot cross the threshold with you. So it must be uncovered now. This is why there was urgency. This is why you were told not to skip again. Because the revelation is not optional. It is necessary. Within this hour, you may feel a sudden clarity settle over you. You may receive a message that confirms your intuition. You may witness behavior that removes all doubt. Or you may simply realize something internally that shifts your entire perspective. When it happens, remember this. You were not blindsided. You were briefed by heaven. Archangel Michael's energy is about courage under revelation. You are not weak. You are not fragile. You are being strengthened for alignment. And here is something deeper that most will not understand. The exposure is not only about what is leaving. It is about what is arriving. Once the hidden thing is uncovered, space will open. And in that space, God will place something clearer, stronger. But there must first be removal of what was concealed. Do not fear the moment. God says, I am with you in the unveiling. Even if your heart beats faster, even if your mind races for a second, even if your emotions surge you briefly, stand still. Breathe. Let the truth settle fully before making any decision. This is not chaos. This is correction. And correction is a form of protection. Archangel Michael does not fight battles you are not meant to win. His presence means victory is already structured. But victory sometimes begins with exposure. If you are feeling this deeply, it is because your spirit recognizes the shift. Right now, seal this moment with agreement. Type I stand in truth in the comments if this message is aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 333 is now activated over your life. The number 333 represents divine confirmation and alignment. As you declare your agreement, heaven seals your protection. The shock will not break you. It will build you. The exposure will not shame you. It will free you. And now, as this revelation unfolds, understand something powerful. When you respond to a divine warning, you partner with heaven's mission. This message is not just for you. There are thousands who are still skipping their moment of preparation. There are souls standing on the edge of revelation without guidance. When you choose to support this channel through super thanks, membership, or even PayPal donation through the link in the description, you are not funding a platform. You are sowing into the harvest of awakened hearts. God says, when you cast your bread upon the waters, it shall return multiplied. Your seed becomes light in someone else's darkness. Your obedience becomes oil in someone else's lamp. I sense in my spirit that some of you feel the call to stand as pillars in this mission. When you act, you are not giving to man. You are partnering with divine assignment. As you sow, may open heavens respond over your household. May rivers of provision flow where there was drought. May protection surround your family as Archangel Michael stands guard. Do not delay obedience when the Spirit nudges you. Step forward in faith. Activate your support now and become part of this prophetic movement. Steadfast soul, if you are still here, it means the revelation has either begun or it is seconds away from unfolding. Something feels different now, doesn't it? There is a weight in the air, a stillness before movement, a quiet pressure building beneath the surface of your reality. This is not your imagination. This is transition. The final moments of the 3-hour window are sacred. They are not chaotic. They are precise. God does not operate in randomness. When He says something is about to happen, it is because the spiritual groundwork has already been laid. What you are about to witness is simply the physical manifestation of what has already been decided in the unseen realm. You may feel your heart beating a little faster. You may feel alert, sensitive, hyper-aware of your surroundings. That is because your spirit has stepped forward. Your intuition has sharpened. You are no longer asleep to what is shifting. Archangel Michael stands not behind you, but beside you. That is important. Beside you means partnership. It means you are not a victim of events. You are a participant in divine order. His presence signifies that the unfolding will not overpower you. It will empower you. And here's what you must understand in this critical phase. When truth arrives, it often comes quietly first. Not with noise, not with drama, but with undeniable clarity. It might be a sentence spoken casually by someone close to you that suddenly reveals everything. It might be a detail you overlooked that now fits perfectly into a larger pattern. It might be an internal realization that drops into your mind like a key turning in a lock. When it happens, do not resist it. There is a natural human instinct to protect comfort, even when comfort is built on partial truth, even when comfort is sustained by illusion. But God loves you too much to let you remain comfortable inside something unstable. The shock is not punishment. It is permission. Permission to move forward without confusion. Permission to detach from what was unclear. Permission to release what was never fully aligned with your destiny. You were warned because you are being elevated. And elevation requires clarity. Think back over the past few weeks. There were subtle warnings. Moments where you paused and thought, something isn't adding up. Conversations that felt rehearsed. Promises that felt delayed. Energy that shifted without explanation. Your spirit picked up signals your mind tried to rationalize. Now the rationalization is ending. Truth has a way of surfacing exactly when it must. Archangel Michael's role in this moment is to ensure that when exposure comes, it does not destabilize your identity. You are not defined by what is revealed. You are defined by how you respond to it. And your response is everything. If disappointment rises, let it pass through without anchoring in bitterness. If relief comes, accept it without guilt. If confirmation arrives, receive it without arrogance. Maintain balance. Because the enemy's last attempt in moments of exposure is emotional overreaction. He hopes you will speak too quickly, decide too fast, cut too harshly, or cling too desperately. Do not give him that opening. Instead, become observant. Watch how people respond when truth surfaces. Watch who remains steady and who becomes defensive. Watch who supports clarity and who tries to blur it. Exposure reveals character, and character determines who walks with you into your next season. This is not just about what is being revealed. It is about who remains when the dust settles. There's a divine reshuffling happening. Positions are being adjusted. Roles are being clarified. Alignments are being refined. And you are at the center of it because you are being prepared for something greater. You cannot carry hidden instability into a higher level. So if something falls away in the coming moments, let it fall. If a mask drops, let it drop. If a truth surfaces that shifts your perception, let it shift. God says, I am not removing to harm you. I am refining to protect you. That is why the warning felt urgent. Because preparation determines peace. Right now, as this transition completes, do something simple but powerful. Sit still for a moment after this message ends. Breathe deeply. Ask God to seal your emotions in wisdom. Invite Archangel Michael to fortify your courage. You are not fragile. You are being forged. The shock is not the end of something beautiful. It is the end of something unclear. And clarity is a gift. In the next unfolding, you will begin to see how this revelation connects to a larger breakthrough that has been waiting behind the scenes. What feels sudden now will soon feel strategic. Hold your ground. Because the moment you feared is actually the doorway you prayed for. Warrior of light, now that the veil has begun to lift, you may feel an unexpected mixture of emotions. Relief and disbelief. Calm and intensity. Strength and vulnerability. This is normal. When truth surfaces after being hidden, your entire inner world recalibrates. But listen carefully. The shocking moment was not the climax. It was the catalyst. What unfolds after exposure is far more important than the exposure itself. Right now, something subtle is happening within you. Your perception is adjusting. Pieces are connecting. Patterns are becoming obvious. What once felt confusing is now making sense with unsettling clarity. This is divine intelligence activating inside your spirit. You were not warned simply to brace yourself. You were warned to respond with maturity. Archangel Michael's presence in your atmosphere signals something deeper than protection. It signals authority. You are being invited to stand in a higher level of spiritual authority over your life. No more passive acceptance. No more ignoring red flags. No more silencing your intuition. This was a wake-up call, not a scared tactic. And here is the truth most people miss. When God exposes something, He simultaneously upgrades you. Exposure and elevation happen together. If something in your environment was misaligned, now you see it clearly. If someone's intentions were inconsistent, now you recognize it without doubt. If you were holding on to something out of habit rather than purpose, now you understand why it felt heavy. Clarity removes emotional fog. But clarity also demands courage. You may feel tempted to immediately confront, correct, or close doors. Resist the urge to move impulsively. There is wisdom in measured steps. Sometimes the most powerful move is quiet repositioning. Observe who adjusts when truth is revealed. Observe who tries to twist the narrative. Observe who grows silent. Exposure does not just uncover facts, it reveals hearts. And you must move based on revealed character, not temporary reactions. The next few hours and days are critical. Not because danger is coming, but because alignment is restructuring. Your spiritual foundation is being strengthened. Weak attachments are loosening. False comfort zones are dissolving. This is growth. Growth often feels uncomfortable at first because it stretches identity. You may feel slightly detached from the version of yourself that tolerated confusion. You may feel stronger, more decisive, more aware. That is not arrogance. That is awakening. God says, I showed you so you would not settle. There was something ahead that required sharper discernment. Something greater that needed you fully awake. And you could not step into it carrying partial truths. Archangel Michael symbolizes courage in transition. And transition is exactly what you are in right now. Do not underestimate this moment. Many people receive exposure and fall into bitterness. Others receive clarity and retreat into fear. But you are being called to respond differently. You are being called to rise. The shock was not designed to break trust in yourself. It was designed to strengthen it. You sensed something before it happened. You felt something before it was confirmed. That means your intuition is not weak. It is developing. Trust that. There is also something else unfolding behind the scenes. When one layer of truth surfaces, it often triggers a chain reaction. Conversations will shift. Dynamics will adjust. Some connections may deepen because honesty builds strength. Others may fade because they were sustained by illusion. Let the natural separation occur. Do not chase what tries to drift away. Do not cling to what God is loosening. This is refinement, and refinement prepares you for expansion. In the coming days, you may notice new opportunities approaching. Doors that felt blocked may suddenly open. Communication may become clearer. Decision-making may feel easier. That is because confusion was consuming mental and spiritual energy. Now that it has been removed, you have space. Space for clarity. Space for peace. Space for direction. But remember this. Do not speak negatively about what was exposed. Maintain integrity. Even if you were disappointed, stay honorable. The way you exit a season determines the honor you carry into the next one. Archangel Michael does not fight with chaos. He stands with discipline and precision. Reflect that energy. You were told not to skip this message because you needed preparation. And now you see why. Without warning, this revelation might have shaken you deeply. But because you were alerted, you stood steady. That is growth. There is still more unfolding ahead. Exposure was the first wave. Realignment is the second. And breakthrough is the third. You are standing between wave 1 and wave 2 right now. Do not lose focus. What feels like an ending is actually a recalibration. What feels like loss is actually protection. What feels like shock is actually strategy. Stay alert. Stay grounded. Stay receptive. Because what is about to unfold next will show you why this had to happen now, and not later. The story is not over. It is just becoming clearer. Brave soul, now that clarity has entered your atmosphere, the real test begins. It is one thing to receive revelation. It is another thing to walk in alignment after revelation. Many people pray for truth, but when truth arrives, they struggle to adjust their behavior. You are not being called to struggle. You are being called to ascend. Something inside you feels different now. There is less confusion, less second-guessing, less internal debate. That is not accidental. When God removes deception, He restores inner stability. But here is what you must understand at this stage. The enemy does not retreat quietly. When exposure fails to shake you, distraction tries to reclaim you. Pay attention to what attempts to pull your focus away right now. Sudden busyness. Unexpected drama. Emotional manipulation. Old habits trying to resurface. These are subtle attempts to reintroduce fog after clarity. Do not entertain them. Archangel Michael's energy is disciplined and focused. When he stands guard, he does not look left and right nervously. He faces forward with unwavering attention. That is the posture you must adopt in this hour. Forward, not backward into old conversations, not sideways into comparison. Forward into alignment. There is also something powerful happening internally. Your self-respect is increasing. When truth is revealed and you handle it with composure, your confidence rises naturally. You begin to trust your discernment more. You begin to feel less dependent on external validation. That is spiritual maturity. And maturity attracts higher-level opportunities. You may already sense that certain dynamics feel lighter. Some conversations feel clearer. Some energies feel distant. That is because the hidden tension has been released. Truth removes invisible pressure. But now you must guard your thoughts carefully. The mind has a tendency to replay events, analyze every detail, and search for additional hidden meanings. Do not fall into overanalysis. What was revealed is enough. Do not create extra layers that do not exist. Simplicity is strength. God did not expose something to create mental torment. He exposed it to bring peace through clarity. If this message is strengthening you right now, take a moment to engage with it. Like this video so it can reach someone else who needs confirmation. Share it with a friend who has been sensing a shift in their own life. Comment what changed for you after the revelation. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to future guidance. Become a member if you feel called to stand closer to this spiritual mission. Your interaction is not small. It helps amplify truth in a noisy world. Now listen closely. There is a window opening in front of you. It may not be fully visible yet, but it is there. Exposure creates vacancy. Vacancy invites opportunity. When something misaligned leaves your path, something aligned begins approaching. Do not rush to fill the empty space. Let it remain open for a moment. Let God be the one who places the next piece. Archangel Michael does not replace prematurely. He waits for divine instruction. You must do the same. You are entering a phase where discernment will be sharper than ever. Conversations will feel different. You will notice subtle inconsistencies immediately. You will sense authenticity more quickly. This is an upgrade in perception. Do not misuse it. Discernment is not suspicion. It is clarity guided by peace. If you feel constant anxiety around someone or something, that is not discernment, that is unrest. True alignment brings calm confidence. Over the next few days, expect subtle confirmations that you handled the situation correctly. You may hear similar stories from others. You may see patterns repeated in unrelated areas that validate your insight. These confirmations are heaven reinforcing your growth. But here is the key. Do not become prideful. The purpose of exposure was not to make you feel superior. It was to make you wiser. Archangel Michael's strength is humble strength. Power under control. Authority without arrogance. Reflect that. You have crossed a threshold. The old version of you would have reacted emotionally, perhaps defensively. The new version observes, processes, and responds with balance. That is transformation. And transformation is preparation for something greater. There is still more unfolding. What feels like resolution now is only the midpoint of a larger shift. The next stage will require decision. Not reaction, but intentional movement. So remain attentive. Do not drift back into autopilot. Do not numb yourself with distraction. Stay aware. Stay prayerful. Stay grounded. Because what approaches next is not another chog. It is an invitation. And you will want to be fully present when that invitation arrives. Trust me, what is ahead carries more weight than what has just passed. You will want clarity for what comes next. Awakened one, you have now stepped beyond the shock, beyond the exposure, and beyond the immediate reaction. What remains is something far more powerful than the event itself. What remains is awareness. Awareness changes everything. You are no longer moving blindly. You are no longer questioning your inner voice. Something inside you has stabilized. There is a quiet strength replacing the uncertainty that once lingered in your chest. This is the beginning of spiritual authority awakening in you. But do not mistake calmness for completion. The surface may feel settled, yet beneath it, divine rearrangement is still taking place. God does not reveal something without initiating a greater shift behind the scenes. Archangel Michael's presence in this phase is not about defense anymore. It is about direction. When protection has done its job, guidance takes over. And guidance requires attention. You may start noticing subtle invitations emerging in your life. A new idea that keeps resurfacing. An opportunity that appears unexpectedly. A person reaching out at just the right time. These are not random events. They are pieces aligning after the removal of what was hidden. When confusion leaves, a vision sharpens. And with sharpened vision comes responsibility. Now that you see clearly, you cannot return to tolerating what you once overlooked. The door has closed. Your spirit would not allow it. The awareness you carry now is too strong to ignore. This is growth that cannot be reversed. But there is something else you must guard carefully in this phase. Do not let your heart harden. Exposure can sometimes create distance within us. It can make us cautious to the point of isolation. That is not what this moment is for. God did not reveal something to close you off from the world. He revealed it to refine your discernment, not eliminate your openness. Say wise, but say soft. Archangel Michael's strength is firm, yet not cold. Powerful, yet not distant. That balance is what you must embody. Over the next few days, you may replay certain moments in your mind and see them differently. Things that once seemed harmless may now appear significant. Do not become angry at yourself for not seeing sooner. You saw what you were ready to see at the time. Timing matters. You were not delayed. You were developed. The 5 times you skipped this message were not wasted moments. They were stages of preparation. Had you heard it earlier, you may not have received it fully. But now, you understand why the urgency was necessary. There is wisdom in divine persistence. And now, as the dust continues to settle, you may feel an internal pull toward change. It may not be dramatic. It may be subtle but steady. A desire to adjust your routines. A desire to shift your environment. A desire to restructure priorities. Listen to that pull. It is not restlessness. It is repositioning. You are being aligned for something that requires clearer boundaries, stronger confidence, and deeper faith. The shock cleared the path. The next phase will ask you to walk it intentionally. You are no longer in reaction mode. You are in preparation mode. And preparation requires discipline. There may be conversations you need to have, but speak with clarity rather than accusation. There may be decisions you need to make, but choose with peace rather than pressure. There may be spaces you need to step away from, but exit with dignity rather than resentment. This is how you protect your elevation. Archangel Michael does not rush into battle impulsively. He moves when instructed. He acts with precision. That is the energy surrounding you now. You might also sense that some people are observing you differently. When you handle exposure with maturity, it shifts how others perceive you. Strength commands respect without demanding it. But remember, this journey is not about impressing anyone. It is about alignment with your purpose. The truth that surfaced was not random. It was clearing the road ahead. Something significant is approaching. Not another shock, but a decision point that will define your next chapter. The clarity you gained was necessary so that when this opportunity appears, you will recognize it instantly. Stay alert. Do not drift into complacency simply because the intensity has passed. The transition is still unfolding. You are standing at a crossroads that was invisible before exposure. Now you can see both paths clearly. One leads back to comfort. The other leads forward into growth. And you already know which one your spirit is leaning toward. The next unfolding will reveal the invitation waiting on the path of growth. It will require courage, but you have already proven that you possess it. Hold steady, because what comes next is not about surviving shock. It is about stepping into purpose. Chosen and refined one, you are no longer standing in confusion. You are standing at the edge of decision. The exposure cleared your vision. The shock awakened your awareness. The calm that followed strengthened your center. And now comes the sacred moment where you must choose alignment over familiarity. This is where many hesitate. Comfort has a strange pull. Even when comfort was built on partial truth, it still feels known. And the unknown, even when blessed, can feel intimidating. But understand this clearly. What is in front of you is not chaos. It is calling. Archangel Michael does not stand at crossroads without purpose. His presence here is not about fighting something behind you. It is about guarding something ahead of you. The path opening before you carries weight. It carries growth. It carries expansion that would have been impossible had the hidden truth remained concealed. You were not warned simply to endure exposure. You were warned to prepare for invitation. The invitation may come as a decision you have been postponing. It may appear as an opportunity you once doubted you were ready for. It might look like walking away from what feels safe and what feels significant. However it appears, it will resonate deeply in your spirit. You will know. There will be peace beneath the nervousness, confidence beneath the uncertainty, clarity beneath the fear. That is how divine alignment feels. But listen carefully. This next step requires courage that is intentional, not emotional. Do not move because you feel pressured. Move because you feel positioned. There is a difference. You have been elevated in awareness for a reason. You cannot carry this new clarity and continue living as if nothing shifted. The old version of you tolerated misalignment. The awakened version of you recognizes destiny. Archangel Michael symbolizes disciplined advancement. When he moves, it is purposeful. That same precision is being asked of you now. Over the next few hours or days, pay attention to repeated confirmations. You may hear similar messages from different sources. You may see signs that reinforce your direction. You may feel an inner urgency that does not fade. Do not ignore it. This is the moment where obedience becomes breakthrough. The 5 skipped warnings brought you here. The shock strengthened you. The clarity refined you. Now obedience will elevate you. There is also something else happening quietly. As you stand ready to step forward, heaven is observing your willingness. When you respond to divine nudges, doors open faster than expected. When you hesitate too long, momentum slows. Do not delay alignment. You have already endured the discomfort of exposure. Do not waste the reward of growth. There is someone watching your journey who will gain courage from your obedience. There is a soul waiting for confirmation that stepping forward is possible. When you act in faith, you are not only changing your own story, you are modeling transformation for others. And that is powerful. Right now, seal this crossroads with declaration. Type "I choose alignment" in the comments if your spirit feels ready. Blessing code 888 is now released over your path. The number 888 represents new beginnings aligned with divine order. As you declare it, you activate forward movement. Stagnation breaks. Fear loses authority. Purpose advances. And now hear this clearly. This message did not reach you by accident. There are countless souls who are still skipping their moment of clarity. There are hearts standing on the edge of revelation without guidance. When you support this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through PayPal using the link in the description, you are not funding content. You are sowing seeds into awakening. God says, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. Your generosity becomes light for someone still in confusion. It becomes oil in the lamp of a searching soul. I sense in my spirit that some of you are being called to stand as pillars in this movement. When you give, you are not responding to a request. You are answering a divine invitation. As you sow, may open heavens respond over your life. May provision meet you before lack approaches. May Archangel Michael stand guard over your household as you partner with this assignment. Do not hesitate when your spirit nudges you. Step forward now. Activate your support and become part of this harvest. The path in front of you is clearer than it has ever been. Do not step back, because what waits beyond this decision is not another test. It is the beginning of the life you sensed was possible all along. Anointed traveler, the moment of decision has either just passed through your hands or it is unfolding as you listen to these words. Either way, something irreversible has begun. When you chose alignment, even in your heart, a spiritual contract was activated. You may not have signed anything with ink, but you signed something with intention. An intention carries authority in the spiritual realm. The path ahead is no longer theoretical. It is active. You might notice that once you internally said yes to growth, circumstances began shifting subtly around you. Conversations changed tone. Opportunities adjusted. Some people grew distant. Others suddenly became more present. This is not coincidence. This is rearrangement. Archangel Michael does not guard empty transitions. He guards movements that matter. And your movement just signaled readiness. But readiness does not eliminate resistance. When you step into alignment, there is often a final attempt from your old comfort zone to pull you back. Familiar thoughts may resurface. Doubts may whisper quietly. Memories of how things used to be may attempt to romanticize what was already misaligned. You not fall for nostalgia disguised as safety. The version of you who tolerated confusion is not the version standing here now. You have seen too much. You have felt too deeply. You have matured beyond that space. This next phase requires emotional discipline. There will be moments where you question if you moved too quickly. Moments where silence feels heavier than conversation. Moments where stepping forward feels lonely. But understand this clearly. Loneliness during growth is temporary. Regret from stagnation lasts longer. Archangel Michael's strength is not loud. It is steady. It is unwavering even when the environment feels uncertain. That same steadiness is being cultivated inside you. You may begin to sense a new layer of responsibility settling over your life. Clarity brings accountability. You can no longer claim ignorance about what was revealed. You can no longer pretend not to see patterns that were exposed. This is not pressure. It is empowerment. There is a new standard rising within you. You are less willing to compromise your peace. Less willing to entertain half-truths. Less willing to shrink yourself for the comfort of others. That is growth. But growth must be handled with humility. Do not become rigid. Do not become overly critical. The goal is not perfection. The goal is alignment. There is grace in learning. There is space for refinement. Over the next stretch of time, watch for confirmation through peace. When you are walking correctly, there is a subtle stability beneath your steps. Even if challenges arise, you feel grounded rather than chaotic. That grounding is a sign you chose well. There may also be a door opening soon that feels almost too aligned to be accidental. It may be a conversation about something you secretly desired. It may be an opportunity that connects directly to a dream you put on hold. It may be a chance to rebuild something on a healthier foundation. When it appears, do not hesitate out of fear. The exposure you experienced was not to make you cautious of everything. It was to sharpen your discernment for the right things. Archangel Michael symbolizes forward advancement under divine order. You are not wandering. You are advancing. And advancement requires focus. Limit unnecessary distractions right now. Protect your energy. Be selective about who you confide in. Not everyone needs full access to your evolving process. Growth is sometimes best nurtured quietly. At the same time, remain open to encouragement from those who genuinely support your elevation. You will recognize them by their peace, not their pressure. There is also something internal that is strengthening. Your prayer life may feel deeper, your intuition sharper, your patience more stable. These are not random changes. They are signs of spiritual reinforcement. You asked for clarity. You receive it. You asked for direction. It is unfolding. You asked for protection. It has surrounded you. Now comes consistency. The next unfolding will require sustained faith, not just a single bold decision. You have crossed the threshold, and now you must walk the path steadily. Do not look back longing for what was familiar. Look forward with expectation for what is forming. Because what is forming is not temporary. It is foundational. And in the next phase, you will begin to see the tangible results of choosing alignment. The reward of obedience is about to take visible shape. Stay anchored. The breakthrough you sensed from the beginning of this journey is closer than it appears. Faithful warrior, you are now stepping into the visible results of everything that has unfolded. At first, it was just a warning, then exposure, then clarity, and decision. Now comes manifestation. What was shifting in the unseen is beginning to show itself in tangible ways. You may notice that certain doors are opening with less resistance than before. Conversations that once felt strained now feel direct and honest. Opportunities that once seemed distant are now within reach. This is not luck. This is alignment bearing fruit. But manifestation requires maintenance. Just because a door opens does not mean you relax your awareness. Just because peace returns does not mean you stop guarding your discernment. Growth is not a single event. It is a sustained posture. Archangel Michael's presence at this stage represents endurance. He does not celebrate too early, nor does he retreat after one victory. He stands consistently. That is the posture you must now embody. Consistency will protect what breakthrough has produced. You may feel a surge of confidence rising in you, a new sense of stability, a belief that you could handle more than you thought. That confidence is earned. You walked through exposure without collapsing. You made a decision without retreating. You stepped forward despite uncertainty. That builds inner authority. However, be mindful of subtle pride. When things begin aligning, the ego may attempt to claim full credit. Remember, you were warned before you were ready. You were protected before you were aware. You were guided before you understood. Stay grateful. Gratitude keeps blessings flowing. There may also be a new responsibility forming around you. a leadership role, a heavier assignment, a task that stretches you beyond your comfort zone. Do not shrink from it. The very clarity you received earlier prepared you for this level. If confusion had remained, you would not have been ready. Now you are. Some of you will notice financial shifts. Others will experience relational stability. Some will feel a spiritual awakening that deepens your daily discipline. A manifestation may look different for each person, but the root is the same. Obedience unlocked movement. This is why you were urged not to skip again. If this journey has strengthened you, take a moment to amplify it. Like this video so others can find this message at the right time. Share it with someone who is standing at their own crossroads. Comment what breakthrough you are beginning to see. Subscribe so you do not miss future guidance. Become a member if you feel called to walk deeper into this prophetic space. Your engagement multiplies impact more than you realize. Now listen carefully. With manifestation comes testing. Not to undo you, but to confirm you. There may be small challenges that attempt to measure your consistency. A minor disagreement, a temporary delay, a subtle distraction. These are not signs of failure. They are opportunities to prove that your growth is stable. Do not overreact to minor resistance. Archangel Michael does not draw his sword for every small noise. He discerns when action is necessary and when stillness is stronger. Learn that balance. The breakthrough you are stepping into is not fragile. It is fortifying. But it must be stewarded wisely. Guard your schedule. Guard your speed. Guard your thoughts. Do not return to patterns that once drained you. Do not entertain conversations that undermine your peace. Do not allow old insecurities to narrate your new chapter. You have crossed too far to go backward. There is also something beautiful forming beneath the surface. A sense of purpose that feels clearer than ever. You may feel drawn toward a specific direction that once intimidated you. You may feel ready to pursue something you postponed out of fear. That is not random courage. That is divine confirmation. When alignment produces momentum, it is meant to be used. In the coming stretch of time, expect visible confirmation that you chose correctly. A sign that reassures you. A result that validates your obedience. A moment where you quietly realize, this is why it had to happen. When that moment comes, pause and remember the warning that started it all. Remember the 5 times you almost missed it. Remember the urgency that pulled you back. Remember the protection that steadied you. Because what you are building now is not temporary relief. It is sustainable progress. And there is still one final layer of revelation ahead. Not exposure this time. Not decision. But understanding. Understanding of why the timing was precise. Understanding of why the shock was necessary. Understanding of how this entire journey connects to something even greater than you imagine. Stay steady. The final unfolding will tie everything together in a way that leaves no doubt about the hand guiding you from the beginning. Beloved overcomer, you have walked through warning, exposure, decision, and manifestation. Now you stand in understanding. Understanding is different from clarity. Clarity shows you what happened. Understanding reveals why it had to happen. And when understanding settles into your spirit, peace becomes unshakable. Look back for a moment, not with regret, not with nostalgia, but with wisdom. The 5 times you skipped the message were not accidents. They represented hesitation. They represented the part of you that sensed change was coming but was not ready to embrace it. If everything had unfolded during the first warning, you might have resisted. You might have reacted emotionally. You might have mismanaged the revelation. But the delay built capacity. God was not only preparing the situation, He was preparing you. Archangel Michael's role in this entire journey was not limited to protection during shock. His presence symbolized strategic timing. Nothing unfolded too early. Nothing unfolded too late. The exposure arrived exactly when your inner strength could sustain it. That is divine precision. Now you can see how the pieces connect. The tension you felt weeks ago, the subtle signs you ignored, the persistent nudge that would not leave you alone, the urgency that finally captured your attention. None of it was random. It was orchestration. When heaven repeats a message 5 times, it is not desperation. It is mercy. And when only 3 hours remained, it was not about panic. It was about alignment reaching its deadline. You are no longer the person who hesitates when intuition whispers. You are no longer the person who overlooks red flags for comfort. You are no longer the person who doubts your own discernment. Something solid has formed inside you. That solidity is spiritual maturity. With maturity comes a new assignment. You will begin noticing that others confide in you differently. They will sense your steadiness. They will recognize your wisdom. Your journey has equipped you to guide without controlling, to warn without intimidating, to support without overwhelming. The shock you survived becomes someone else's lesson through your voice. But guard humility carefully. Understanding can sometimes make people feel elevated above others. Remember where you started. Remember the hesitation. Remember the 5 skipped warnings. Compassion must remain at the center of your strength. Archangel Michael's authority is never arrogant. It is calm, disciplined, and aligned with purpose. Let that energy shape how you move forward. There may still be small echoes of the past attempting to resurface. A thought that questions if everything truly needed to happen this way. A fleeting feeling that wonders what could have been different. Let those thoughts pass without entertaining them. The path you are on is not built on accident. It is built on obedience. You chose alignment when it mattered. And now the greater purpose is becoming visible. This entire experience sharpened your discernment for what lies ahead. There is something larger forming in your life that requires clear vision. A partnership, a project, a calling, a responsibility. And you carried confusion into that next season. It would have collapsed under hidden instability. But now you are fortified. The understanding you hold today will protect the expansion that is coming tomorrow. You may even begin to feel gratitude for the shock. Not because it was comfortable, but because it was curative. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. That is growth at its highest level. God does not waste discomfort. He converts it into direction. And now, as you stand in understanding, you are positioned for influence. Not loud influence. Not dramatic influence. But steady, consistent, grounded influence. Your reactions have changed. Your speech has softened but strengthened. Your patience has increased. Your boundaries have become clearer. This is the fruit of obedience. There is only one final layer left in this journey. It is not another test. It is not another exposure. It is commissioning. You were warned for a reason. You were protected for a reason. You were guided for a reason. And the final unfolding will reveal what heaven expects you to do with everything you have learned. Stay present, because the closing revelation will not be about what happens to you next. It will be about what happens through you next. And that changes everything. My faithful child, this is not the end of a message. This is the beginning of a commission. You were warned because you were chosen to carry awareness. You were exposed to truth because you were strong enough to handle it. You were positioned in urgency because heaven trusted your obedience. And now, after everything that unfolded, you are not standing where you began. You are standing transformed. The 5 skipped moments were not failures. They were invitations waiting for acceptance. The 3-hour warning was not fear-driven. It was precision-timed mercy. The shock was not destruction. It was divine correction. And the alignment you stepped into was not accidental. It was authored. Now you understand why it had to happen exactly the way it did. Archangel Michael's presence throughout this journey was not symbolic alone. It represented divine enforcement of your destiny. Protection when truth surfaced. Strength when emotions surged. Direction when decisions demanded courage. And now, commissioning as you step into purpose. Because this was never only about you. When God insists that you do not skip, it is because your obedience carries ripple effects. There are people connected to your future who needed you healed, sharpened, and aligned. There are doors that require your maturity. There are responsibilities that demand your discernment. You were being upgraded. And now you carry something you did not carry before, spiritual authority rooted in experience. You know what it feels like to ignore the nudge. You know what it feels like to finally listen. You know what it feels like to face exposure. And you know what it feels like to choose alignment anyway. That testimony is power. But hear this clearly. The enemy's final strategy is subtle complacency. After growth, he whispers, "You've done enough." After breakthrough, he suggests, "Relax now." After clarity, he tempts you to drift. Do not drift. Guard what you gain. Feed your discernment daily. Protect your peace intentionally. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay disciplined in thought. Stay selective in influence. Because elevation requires maintenance. The commissioning over your life now is simple but weighty. When you sense a divine nudge, respond immediately. Do not wait for 5 reminders. Do not require urgency to activate obedience. Let this journey mark the last time you ignore what your spirit recognizes. Archangel Michael does not hesitate when heaven commands. And neither should you. There will be future warnings, future invitations, future crossroads. But you will meet them differently now. You will respond faster. Stand firmer. Choose wiser. That is transformation. And now, seal this commissioning with declaration. Type "I will not skip God" in the comments if you receive this assignment. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your destiny. The number 1212 represents divine alignment stepping into divine purpose. As you declare it, you step fully into your new level of obedience. And now hear this as a final charge. This message was not just content. It was meant for someone standing on the edge of missing their moment. There are souls right now who are still scrolling, still hesitating, still skipping their warning. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through PayPal using the link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are releasing light into dark timelines. God declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." Your seed becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning for the next wandering soul. Your generosity becomes a trumpet that sounds the warning before it is too late. I sense in my spirit that some of you feel the fire to stand as builders in this assignment. When you give, you align yourself with the harvest of awakened hearts. As you sow, may open heavens answer your household. May provision chase you down. May Archangel Michael stand guard over every door connected to your name. Do not delay obedience. Act now. Release your seed. Join this mission. Become a pillar in what God is building through this voice. This was your warning. This was your preparation. This was your commissioning. And from this day forward, you will not skip when heaven speaks.